Wingman Joker, thank you for listening to this channel and please support the channel. Please subscribe. Chapter 26. Third Circuit. Had enough. Adrian, who was lying in bed with all kinds of hickeys all over his body, finally asked Summer, who was hugging him with her head in his chest. I am sorry. I don't know what got into me, she said, not daring to look at him to hide her blushing face. If you put something into the meat you could have told me to be prepared at least, she whispered. Idiot, the problem is not in that. Adrian, who had long diagnosed Summer to make sure nothing was wrong with her, said. It is just that I mistakenly told you to allow the renegading mana to spread all over your body, and this might have caused it to stimulate certain areas. He sighed. Oh. Summer finally got it, making her blush harder. Though, I have to say, that was amazing. You are really a fast learner. Shut up, she interrupted him, pinched his arm as she blushed. You should be proud, very few can get such a testimony from me. He said. Are you some kind of sex expert now? She asked, biting her lip and somehow relaxing a bit. Not just an expert, but the expert. Yup, yes. If we were to be number 2, no one would claim number 1. Definitely, no doubt about it. Bastards, why only I had to leave that world a virgin. Blame your twisted fetishes for that. Good point. Damn it. Yup, he finally said with a chuckle. Quote. Summer pouted a bit. How many girls did you sleep with before? She finally asked. Quote. Adrian sighed. Jealous already? He asked. It seemed like the girl was really beginning to fall for him. No way, she spat. It is that I just heard that young masters of the noble families had all kinds of concubines, and was curious about you, she asked again in roundabout way. Ever since I was born in this world, you are my first. He decided to tell the truth, a truth. Ah, really? She finally looked him in the eye to make sure he was not lying. Although she was a noob herself, she could tell that many of the techniques he used were not simple at all. Who knows, he shrugged. She pouted again. Just promise me one thing, she said again. What? That you will never throw me aside someday, she said in a low voice, her face blushing heavily. She didn't know where she got the courage to say that. As a mere cauldron, she should know her place better than anyone. Adrian sighed. After her father sold her, she was really sensitive. I promise, but if you wanna stay with me you have to remember, my journey will be dangerous, long, and tedious, he said seriously, brushing her hair. Quote. As long as you are there, Summer said, subtly confessing that she really fell for him. She didn't know when, maybe when he saved her mother, or maybe she always had a crush on him ever since they were in school. He slowly petted her head. Then we have a deal, he kissed her hair. She smiled sweetly. Right, what happened with Dixon? He finally asked after a few minutes of peaceful silence. You really know how to ruin a good mood, Summer spat. What happened? He asked again. When I was having breakfast, that bastard came to me and began to make all kinds of advances, Summer said. When I refused him, he began to slander you, explaining that you are a loser and such, saying that he is 10 times the man you are. So you slapped him, right, but that didn't stop him, he just kept repeating that I should try him at least once, promising that he would make me satisfied, Summer spat angrily. I swear, it was as if I was dealing with some kind of scammy salesman who barged into my house, so I had to curse and spit on him to make him get away from me. Quote. Oh, Adrian frowned. He always knew that Dixon was both shameless and an opportunist guy. That's why he was perfect as a lobby manager. You should have called the security. He said. I tried, but that bastard sent them away in advance and I didn't want to scream and create a scene. She spat. Thankfully, with a lot of people entering the restaurant and glaring at him, he finally felt ashamed and went away. I will make sure to tell Logan to deal with him later, Adrian sighed. If he could find that man that was. She nodded. Quote. Do you plan to cook that meat often? She suddenly asked. He raised one eyebrow and looked at her with a depraved smirk. Bastard, that's not what I meant, she lightly hit his chest with her fist. It is just that I feel my body change a bit, my meridians getting wider and the mana flowing smoother after I ate that. I know, like I told you, this might be some genetic adaptation that your ancestor had, he sighed. Genetic, she frowned. What did that mean? It means it is something inherited. I will try to find a good meat supplier once we move from here, he said. It was not really feasible to use the kitchen every day to cook dangerous meat. He feared that someone might mistakenly try it and end up exploding in a bomb of flesh and blood. She nodded. I will make sure to thank you properly, she added, blushing a bit. You better do, he chuckled. This girl really knew how to satisfy her man. Did you buy a mansion? She asked, changing the subject. No, I forgot that I don't know any good real estate agencies. I will see to it in a few days, he told the truth. I just went to meet my father and then bought some meat, he said. Oh, he agreed. Who? Agreed to what? She frowned. My father agreed. If you can really study all the books I gave you and construct a third circuit before the end of the year, you will get admission to the magical university. Adrian said. Really? She was pleasantly surprised. If the Tower Master agreed to get her an admission ticket, it was guaranteed. Yes, so don't waste any more time, he said, slapping her butt. Ah, she yelled in pain, blushing a bit. Bastard, it is all your fault, she said as she jumped out of bed and then ran to the bathroom. How is it all my fault? He asked in shock. I am that damn victim here. He spat. Ellipsis. After waiting for Summer to finish and then taking a shower himself, Adrian, who was starving, went to the restaurant to have some food and replenish his energy. Unlike the girl who was full, he only ate one bite. Finishing with the awkward meal where all the waiters were staring at him as if he was some kind of gigolo, Adrian sighed and headed toward Logan's office to try and find him. Is Logan here? He asked the secretary. You're in luck, he just came. The secretary said. Just wait, wait. Adrian ignored and walked into the office, closing the door behind him. There, behind his desk, Logan was sitting, using a medical kit to treat a nasty claw mark on the back of his muscular forearm. It was clear that he was having some difficulty. Adrian, let me help you, Adrian said as he hurried to his side, took a wet towel, and began to clean the blood. Why didn't you go to the hospital? That thing is still out there, and people will talk. I don't want to spread panic, Logan said. I plan to go directly after the bleeding stops. Adrian asked as he carefully inspected the deep wounds. A demonic wolf, about 8 feet tall, never seen anything like it. Logan said. It ran away into the sewers so fast after attacking me, I didn't get a chance to follow. That thing is smart. Oh, Adrian nodded. It was very rare for demonic monsters to enter the city, but not unheard of. Where did you encounter it? Adrian asked as he finished the cleaning process. In the eastern parts, the industrial zone. Near the mining depot, make sure not to go there. I know, Adrian said as he took a pair of tongs from the medical box, and after grabbing a fresh cotton ball with them, he dipped it in some alcohol and then directly applied it to the wound. HSS's. Can't you be gentler? Logan hissed. I can, but this is a punishment for what you did. Adrian spat as he relaxed his hand a bit and began to clean the wound carefully. Stop whining like a little girl and accept the consequences of what you did like a man. What happened? Logan asked as he watched Adrian work. Did he just compare him to a little girl? Damn, for some strange reason, all the staff think that Summer is Lady Red Oak and I am her gigolo boy, Adrian said dismissively. Ouch, careful there, what? You heard it, Adrian said as he inspected the wound, making sure there was no debris or any foreign objects in it before finally spraying some local anesthetics that he should have used from the start. Ah, Logan swallowed as if realizing something. It might be because I was in a hurry back then and didn't explain things thoroughly. I will fix those idiots later, Logan said, solemnly accepting his punishment. He only told them that a guest from the Red Oak family was coming and he brought Summer very secretly right after, so the misunderstanding must have happened there. No need, it will be too awkward now, and I already plan to find a mansion. Adrian said, taking a thread and a needle from the medical kit box. You can do stitching? Logan asked. He always knew that his young master was generous in many fields, and it seemed like this included giving first aid. Don't ask a lady about her age, and never ask me about my skills. Adrian spat. Don't move. Okay, Logan said. Quote. Adrian began working silently, making sure to use one of the stitches that he invented. This one would make the wound heal faster, and the scar that would be left would be almost non-existent. You said you have a couple of problems. What is the second thing? Logan finally asked after making sure that Adrian knew what he was doing. Dixon, he tried to cuckold me. Quote. What? Logan asked, turning to look at Adrian with shock. What idiot would try to cuckold the son of the magical tower's master? Stay still, damn it. Adrian scolded. Ah, okay, what happened? Logan stopped moving. He really believed what I told you earlier about the misunderstanding, and wanted to woo Lady Red Oak, Adrian explained. Quote. Logan swallowed hard and wanted to ask if Dixon succeeded, but felt that it would be too rude. Thankfully Summer slapped and spat on him after he badmouthed me, Adrian said, tying the thread one last time, and then using a pair of scissors to cut it. You should be good now, but go to see a doctor to give you some antibiotics. What? Ah, right, that medicine is still not common here. Adrian almost forgot. Just go see a doctor and ask him to give you medicine for animal-induced injuries, he quickly corrected himself. Damn it, he was not familiar with the medicines in this world yet. Too many things to keep track of. Okay, Logan nodded, this was not his first wound by far, and he knew what to do. I will take care of Dixon for you. You can spare his life, just make sure he realizes his place. Adrian smiled, it was not worth it. He wanted to give him a chance, and if that guy were to make trouble again. Cut those balls. Yuppie, idiots. Yeah, I understand, Logan sighed. Anything else? He asked, noticing that Adrian still had something to say. Hopefully, it would not be his fault this time. A guy from school with some gangsters attacked me on my way to the tower. Since you seem safe, you should have already gotten rid of him. Logan said, even a first circuit magician could easily kill a few nulls. Yeah, I castrated him. You what? Logan asked in shock. Stop jerking like that, or you may open your wound again. Adrian scolded. Right, they had it coming. Adrian sighed. His name is Lloyd. His father is some famous loan shark. I understand, I will look him up and make sure that he will not come knocking on your door. Logan quickly replied. Perfect. Adrian nodded. Quote. Logan sighed, it seemed like he would be late for dinner again tonight. Anything else? He asked again. One last thing, do you know a good source for demonic monster meat? Adrian asked. Demonic monster meat? Do you need it one time or want a bulk supply? Logan asked directly, not caring to ask why. High-ranking magicians had their own experiments and it was rude to ask about them. A long-term relationship would be a better description of what I want. Adrian said, meaning that he didn't want to buy at volume, but wanted a steady supply. Quote. That would be troublesome. The ones hunted by the family enter our pharmaceutical industry, so I suggest hiring a hunter team or making a deal with some shady butchery. Logan explained. I see, Adrian sighed. It seemed like that greedy old man would be his only source for the foreseeable future. Take care then, and be more careful next time. Adrian finally said as he turned and headed to the door. In 2 days, make sure to be early at the tower, Logan suddenly said as he watched him leave. I know, Father already told me about choosing my guardians, I will be there. Affirmative, and, young master, thanks. Logan finally said from the back as he checked Adrian's handiwork, it was perfect. It is your punishment, just accept it, Adrian spat as he left the office. Next time, don't barge in like that. The secretary who kept shooting daggers at him spat directly as soon as he closed the door. Not your fucking business, Adrian Reddy scolded then left. He never liked this bitch. And she was probably the source of the misunderstanding in the first place. Bastard, just because you are sucking up to Lady Red Oak, acting all high and mighty, the secretary began mumbling under her breath. Finishing with all of the random stuff, Adrian returned to the suite, then after checking on Summer who was still studying with determination, he walked into the side bedroom. Don't disturb me no matter what, he said to Summer. Okay, she just nodded before returning to her books. Adrian quickly locked the door and then first of all took a new notepad and began writing on it, completing 10 pages in half an hour. This was the technique for Mila, something that was used by half-demons in one of the other worlds. With this, the anomalies in her body stop harming it and the mana would start to flow smoothly, allowing the girl to become a magician. Finishing with that, he put it away, then sat on the bed in a meditative pose. Right now he was planning to start forming the third magical circuit in his body. After today's accident, he felt that he might still be too weak and wanted to have enough power to defend himself. In magical lore, the zero circuit, that Summer currently had, was the simplest. Its goal was to help sense the mana in the atmosphere and collect it in the body while keeping it in check. It can also be used to feel other people's power, but this requires a ton of experience. The first circuit's goal was to quantify the mana into different elements and qualities. Up to this circuit, a magician wouldn't be able to launch any spells, but his sensitivity would be enhanced greatly. Also, it was at this level where the specialization began. According to public knowledge, there was no one circuit that could quantify all the elements, so each legacy had its own circuit that worked with the elements needed for the levels above. The Red Oak's legacy, for example, specialized in fire and wood in addition to a small affinity with wind and dirt. Naturally, Adiran's first circuit was able to separate the mana regardless of what element he wanted. This included types that have not been discovered yet. He was using a thing called the FFT formula for that, and this thing that was created in the other world to track nuclear weapons had not been discovered here yet. The real stuff started at the second circuit, which would allow the magician to finally output the mana from his body. Still, at this grade, a magician's spells would be very rudimentary and highly dependent on his mana control. The main spells used in this grade were Fireball, Wind Wave and Water Ball. In short, the basic elemental attacks. Adrian, who had a more complex circuit and more experience, had more options though, like he did earlier in the day, using the wind to create subtle sound waves that could cause others to freeze or become crazy. In the hands of an expert, even a pencil would become a deadly weapon. The third circuit that Adrian was planning to construct now was where the real magic began. Its goal was to manipulate the mana before outputting it using the second circuit. This alone would allow the magician to shape the said mana and effect perfectly and create a myriad of complex spells like Tornado, Rain, and Fire Arrow that could penetrate a target a mile away. And of course, the circuit he planned to construct would not be like those used by the others that usually had restrictions about the elements or the scope. His circuit was 1,000 times more efficient, in addition to being a programmable one that was able to change to fit his needs. Thankfully, unlike the next level, the fourth level still didn't need a lot of mana, and with his special zero circuit, he was able to get all the mana he needed from the air. With a smirk, he closed his eyes and began to gather the mana around, allowing it to flow into his meridians. It was time to take another step.